everyone, Bridget here from Bridget's Kitchen, and I have a wee confession to make this morning. I have spent the morning listening to Christmas songs. I know for some of you who shop or who have to spend time in retail, maybe you work in retail, the thought of Christmas music might do things to you that's not quite that good. But I love Christmas because I love Christmas music, and it's my opportunity to play some of my favorite Christmas tracks. So I've literally spent the morning listening to Christmas music on my smart display behind me. So I've put together a playlist. So if anyone wants to hear Bridget's cooking Christmas playlist, let me know and I'll send you a link, because I've put it on YouTube. So I just have to send you a link and then you can listen to all the things that I like to cook with come Christmas time, because it's day 2 of our 12 cooking days of Christmas, and day 2 means we are making Pavlova. So Pavlova, like before we get into it, because I know there's this Aussie Kiwi thing that we have, it's like the cricket and the rugby and the netball and Anzac cookies, biscuits. It's so integral to our identity on who created the Pavlova. Like, it's really hard for me being a Kiwi here who now lives in Australia, and I've been here for 13 years with Mahi and our kids. We've been here for a while. Our children have Australian accents, they've learnt through the Australian school system. So whenever Christmas comes around and we start that kind of back and forward, little argy-bargy on who created the Pavlova, it's a tough thing for me, being a Kiwi by heart, but being here in Australia and being so grateful and honoured to be a part of this country and all the blessings and all the wonderful things that Australia has done for myself and my family. So it's tough. But there are some facts that we need to go through, and I will talk about that as we're going through our class, because there are some facts and there are some evidence out there. So I will let you know definitively today in this class who invented the Pavlova. Was it Australia or was it New Zealand? Are you ready for that? Let's get into it, because this class is exciting. And please, hi to Mema and to Shirley, who's joining me today. Thank you guys. Let us know where you're coming from. Let us know where you're joining us today. It is, we're how many days out till Christmas? Not many. This is the second day, so this is the 14th here in Australia, December the 14th. So we're officially 11 days out from Christmas. Not far. I hope you guys are organized. I'm so not organized. I'm organized with food. Food sorted. When it comes to Christmas presents, I'm like, not really sure. We'll get there, not to worry. Okay, so our class today, we are doing a sugar-free Pavlova, and this Pavlova I shared last year, as I've been on this health journey, as you guys know, for nearly 2 years. It's my 2-year anniversary in March 2020. So I've nearly been on this health journey for 2 years. So it's been a very exciting time. So I have shared this Pavlova recipe last year, because last year was kind of my first Christmas being healthy. But this year, as things progress, I learn new techniques. I learn about different products that are more available to us than they were even last year. So different types of sweeteners that we can use. So the class that we're doing today, the Christmas class we're doing today, is for a Christmas wreath Pavlova. So it looks like a Christmas wreath, the ones that you hang on your door. Very cute, very easy to decorate as well. So I suggest if you are thinking about making something like this Christmas wreath Pavlova for your Christmas table, Christmas lunch, Christmas dinner, whatever it is, or even New Year's, because it's still the same thing, please, just join me for the next, 20 minutes as we go through the class, because there are a few little tips, a few little tricks, and a few little hints that I can give you from a chef's perspective. And I've been making Pavlova for many years, but I've only been making sugar-free Pavlova for 2 years. So there's some tricks and tips that I'd love to share with you guys in today's class. So join me down the bench, and don't forget, if you want the exact ingredients for this recipe, go and grab your Christmas ebook that I delivered to you guys. I think we released it a couple weeks ago in November, and it's Bridget's Healthy Christmas 50 Festive Recipes. If you don't have a copy of that, don't worry, you can still get a copy of that, and it's delivered to you instantly because it's a Christmas ebook, and that is Bridget's Healthy Christmas.com. Bridget's Healthy Christmas.com will send you straight to the ebook. You can download it. There's 50 recipes, and these are all the recipes and all the techniques that we'll be doing in the next couple of days leading up to Christmas. So today is Christmas wreath Pavlova. Join me on the bench. Come on down. Oh, did you notice what I got on? I got a little penny on. Look at that. And like at the front is, oh, I'll just give you a little show of this penny. This is such a great penny. So at the front, it's kind of like hostess penny. You know, shows off the lovely little waist we've got going there. But at the back, she's still a chef. And she's got all her tea towels attached to her penny, because that's how we do it when we're chefs. We always have tea towels at the ready. How good is this? This is a vintage little apron, little penny that I bought a couple of years ago. I have a collection. Watch me in the next couple of days. I'm going to start to turn out my little vintage pennies, and it literally is hostess style. So it just goes to the knee. Isn't it gorgeous? And it even has a pocket. I've got nothing in my pocket at the moment, but we'll get there. So got my penny on. Got my little tea towels attached to my penny. Time to get cooking. Right, so pavlova. Pavlova is obviously this. The basis of a pavlova is this. Well, not all of this, half of this. Now, these eggs are courtesy of the beautiful Tracy Waters, straight from her farm. These gorgeous eggs from Tracy, who's a massive follower and fan of all the things that we do here, and she's living this wonderful gut healthy lifestyle. And she bought me these eggs and delivered them to my house. Would you believe I've got all these wonderful eggs? And I thought, well, you know what? We're going to do Tracy an absolute honor and make a pavlova with Tracy's eggs straight from her farm. So the first thing we need to think about is obviously your eggs. And if you can get free-range organic eggs, even better, but just what your budget can allow. I always say that it's really nice for people who can afford to get free-range organic, but there are those amongst us who can't quite afford that in our budget. So just get the best quality eggs that your budget will allow. And for this recipe, you need 6 eggs. So half a dozen eggs. You've noticed I've got a bowl next to me. I've also got another little cool yellow bowl that I'm just going to use to collect the yolks. Because the first thing that we need to do is we need to separate the whites from the yolks. And is there a trick to it? Absolutely. There's a trick to everything in cooking. And when it comes to separating the yolks, make sure you crack it onto a sharp edge, like this bowl. This glass bowl is quite sharp. And then break them in half and just let the white drip away. Just transferring the white and the yolk from shell to shell, and all I'm left with is the yolk, so that goes in there. I'll do this 6 times so you guys will get used to it. Definitely get used to it. Right, and you need to work with eggs that are at room temperature, because we're going to be whipping up the whites, and they're only going to whip up really well if your eggs are at room temperature. And you also ideally are working with eggs that are quite fresh. And I know these are fresh because these came straight from the farm. There was no middle person involved in these eggs. These eggs were straight from the farm, straight from Tracy. So I know that they're absolutely fresh. Now here's something I'm so glad it happened. Look at me wiping my hands on my tea towels at the back. How good is that? I'm really glad it happened. I got a little bit of egg yolk in there because that egg yolk just happened to break on me. So the best way to get rid of egg yolk, because you don't want any egg yolk in your whites, because that's going to really compromise us when we're starting to whip the whites into stiff peaks. So go in with your eggshell, go up to where the item is that you don't want. It might be egg yolk, it might be a little bit of eggshell, and just allow the eggshell to almost attract it to itself. So you just put it in, and then the eggshell will attract the egg yolk or the eggshell, and then you can just throw it away, just like that. Easy, right? Cool little trick. All right, so we're halfway there. Got 3 eggs to go. I'm hoping I don't crack another one. There you go, transfer. Let's go back and forward, just like that. Egg yolk goes into there. And of course you're not throwing these egg yolks away. You can be making impossible bacon and egg pie. You can be making little omelets. You can be keeping it for all manner of things. Do not throw those egg yolks away. The versatility of eggs is such that we can create something amazing just with the whites, and we can create something amazing just with the yolks. High in protein, good quality fat in those yolks as well. So this is like one of the most perfect foods, unless of course you're vegan and you're not eating eggs, but these are one of the most perfect foods that we can have. So transferring away, our eggs are now done. Those then get covered, put into the fridge for later, for use later. Alright, so now that we've got our egg whites ready to go, we need to start thinking about whipping them up. So I would normally, and this is what I normally do, is I would put these into an electric like stand mixer. I have a KitchenAid and I'll just put it in there and I'll start blending away. But my stand mixer or my bowl you can't see it. So I thought I'd actually just take the time today using this little guy, which is just a handheld whisk. I don't suggest you do this by hand. I just suggest you use something electric. Most definitely use something electric to get things going. And today we're using this little blender. There's going to be a bit of noise, but I want to show you guys how it all works. So the first step that we're looking for here is we want to whip our whites. I've got nothing else in there but whites, and we're looking to bring them to soft peaks. There'll be a lot of time without noise, by the way, without me talking. You guys are good with that, eh? So what is a soft peak? Right now it's frothy. That is definitely not a soft peak because I'm not able to pull the whisk out and it doesn't leave any marks. That's what I'm looking for, is the marks within the whites to tell me that they're soft peaks. So keep going. Actually happening here, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm gonna talk while it's on. Put it over there. What is actually happening in the bowl is we're incorporating air into the whites, and that's what's going to give our Pavlova a lovely, lovely rise. So this step is really important. Now, have I achieved soft peaks? Let me see. I'm pulling it out, and does the whisk actually hold shape? Yeah, it does. Look at that. You see that? That is the whisk holding shape. So what we have achieved right now, with not too much work, using our, handheld whisk, we've achieved soft peaks. So what we need to do now, I'll put that to the side, is think about the sweetener that we're going to add to it. Now, in the recipe for Christmas Wreath Pavlova, that is in the ebook, Bridget's Healthy Christmas, is I use a couple of different sweeteners. So the first sweetener that I use is not really a sweetener, and I talk about it all the time. It's my inulin. So we are making a prebiotic, gut healthy. Can you believe it? A gut healthy Pavlova. That is, those two words, like three words, gut healthy Pavlova, shouldn't even exist in the same sentence, but here we are creating a gut healthy Pavlova. So I'm going to weigh off my inulin powder. So we're adding a prebiotic. It is a dietary fiber, but of course it has that little bit of sweetness to it as well. So that goes in. All the list of ingredients of how much you need to add is all in the ebook. So if you want to, please feel free to grab your copy of the ebook so you can take some notes. So we've got our inulin powder in there. The next thing we're going to add is, and this is completely up to you. Now you could add, in the recipe it calls for monk fruit sweetener, which I know you can get from the supermarket. So you can add a monk fruit sweetener. You can go to Woolies and Coles, they sell it quite easy. It is a low to no sugar added sweetener made from monk fruit, so it's pure source. You could add that. You could also add what I have here, and I get this from, I order this in from a company called Pure Wellness. I know it's backwards. Pure Wellness are based in Australia, and this is a xylitol sweetener. Now I have to sort of give a few little warnings when it comes to this. Not warnings bad, because xylitol is something that we naturally produce in our gut. And it's really, really good for us. But because it's produced in our gut, we actually don't get any health benefits from it. So we need to start taking it orally, as in adding it to our food in order to get the benefits. So the benefits includes, this will help you prevent cavities. This will stop you from getting cavities. It is really, really low in calories as well. It's a natural product derived from birchwood, would you believe? Derived from birchwood. And xylitol has had a bit of a bad rap because it is, and this is the warning, it is extremely toxic to canines. So if you have a dog in the house, this is not something that you need to go anywhere near your animal. We don't have any dogs. We only have cats. They couldn't care less about food unless it's fish. or raw chicken, so they're not going to be eating my pavlova anytime, so I can add xylitol to my food. And because it's a naturally occurring product, like I said, it's made from birchwood, and we actually create xylitol in our gut, I'm quite content to add it. If you've got canines and you think they might jump on the bench and eat your pavlova, you could have monk fruit sweetener instead. Or the other one that you could add, oops, let me just find it, is this one here. Not the gold, just the normal plain version, and this is made from Wreath. I always get the word wrong. How do you say it, Mahi? Erythritol. There you go. So this is sugar made from erythritol, which once again is a natural plant-based sugar, but it has very, very low calories. It won't spike your blood glucose, won't spike your insulin levels. It's the same with the xylitol as well. So this one I get from Sirkin. Don't go with the gold, you just want the plain one. So the plain white sugar from those guys. Not sugar, but it is sugar because it's sweet. Or you can get the xylitol, which is quite commonly available in supermarkets if you want to. So we're going to add a few bits of that into our inulin, top it up. Yep, perfect. There we go. I'm also going to add into our dry ingredients, we're going to be adding a little bit of cream of tartar, readily available in the supermarket. The cream of tartar is there, and we're adding it in to help the egg whites to hold their form when you make your pavlova. So it's a really important ingredient. Even though we're only adding a small amount, it is extremely important to make sure that we hold everything firm together. And the last one, last little dry ingredient I'm adding is just a little bit of xanthan gum. And xanthan gum, once again, is there to help to bind the pavlova together, just to keep the form of it. And you'll really notice once you start adding the xanthan gum how good it does actually hold things, because it acts like a glue or a binder. So it holds things together. So now that we've got our dry ingredients, give them a bit of a mix. We're going to go back to our soft peaks of egg whites. And we're going to go back to whisking again because we need to get it firm and glossy now. So this stage will take a couple of minutes, so just bear with me as we're going through it. If you've got any questions as we're going, now's a great time to ask, by the way. So as I'm whisking, what I'm going to start to do is very slowly, I'm going to start to incorporate my dry ingredients. This is a really important step to getting the sugars, or not that they're sugars, remember they're not sugars, dissolved through the whites. So as it's blending, I'm going to add in a tablespoon at a time, and I'm going to let it go through the mix before I add any more. Really, really important step so we don't get grainy pavlova. So already we can see our egg whites getting stiffer, right? So they're even firmer, which is a great sign. So I don't know if you can hear me, but I've got a story to put there. I've got a story to tell as we're doing this. So as a chef, I have made many, many, many pavlovas in my career. But one time, I made close to 300 in one setting. 300 pavlovas. So making 300 pavlovas, I reckon I am pretty good judge of pavlova character. So, oh yeah, that was in one day. I made 300 in one day. It was a long day, let me tell you. It was a long day. And that was those little individual ones. That was for Melbourne Cup. Mahi remembers. Come back, come back, come back. I want you guys to watch. Watch, watch, watch. Watch as it transforms, because already now we're starting to get a little bit glossy. Look at the difference, right? Look at the difference. We're starting to get a little bit glossy, which is what we want. You could do this by hand, but I suggest that you have a friend, like phone a friend, get someone to help you. I'm pretty confident at this stage that we're getting a really nice like Pavlova meringue and a nice gloss in our meringue as well. So I'm actually going to go to tipping, but still adding a bit at a time. My little machine sounds like it's struggling. Are you hearing that, Mahi? I think I may have broken it. Another one bites the dust. Just get through the Pavlova. That's all we need to do. Alright, that sounds sick. As in not sick good, as they say in Australia, but sick like as in, oh no, what have you done? Oh, I nearly got Pavlova everywhere. Yeah, I think we've officially broken the machine, but that's okay because what we have achieved is what we've wanted, which is that. Do you see that glossiness? Check that out. Do you see how glossy that is? That's what you want. You want that glossiness. It almost looks like marshmallow. And when you put your finger in it and have a bit of a feel, you should feel no grains. It should be completely smooth. What that means is you've dissolved the sugar, which is perfect. And I'm not getting any grains in that and nothing granular in that whatsoever. So I know that what we've achieved is Pavlova success. And the other thing you can do if you really want to is you can tip it upside down the bowl, and if it holds into the bowl, you know you've also achieved Pavlova success. I'm not going to do that today because I'm a little bit concerned that it may not, oh there you go, it may not hold quite well. So you want it to hold the shape of the Pavlova, of the mix, so that when you go to actually putting it onto, into shapes, you can get these lovely peaks and troughs. So in saying that, it looks really, really glossy, but I think it actually needs just a little bit more. I'm just going to go a little bit more. I want to hold its shape just a tiny bit more, and I'll show you why in a second. If the machine will let me. It's fighting me at every step, but that's okay. We're pretty good. I've broken another one, Mahi. I've broken it. But that's all right. We'll get there. Okay, so our Pavlova is done. Our mix is done. Just like that. And I've just dropped the whisk on the floor. That's okay. Our mix is done, which is good. The next stage we need to think about, which is actually the fun stage, is how we're going to put it onto a tray and bake it in the oven. So I've got my oven set. I've got my oven set at 110 degrees. Oh, sorry, I lie. I've actually got my oven set at 200 degrees to start with. So at 200 degrees, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit, I will eventually drop it down to 110, but you want to start it on high because you want it to get it really firm, and we'll get some color on right from the start. So you start it at 200 degrees and on bake, tray in the middle of the oven. And it's about 390 degrees Fahrenheit. So taking up, that's probably too small. I forgot I made a double version. Do we know where our baking sheet is? Let me find a bigger one. Bigger one needed. Oh, here it is. Ta-da. That's like half the size. Let's go there. I'm going with a really big baking sheet. I'm going to add some glue just because I want the baking paper to stick to the bottom of the baking sheet. I will show you why in a second. Nice generous bit of baking paper goes on. This is vital. If you don't have baking paper, you will not be able to remove your Pavlova from the tray. You must put baking paper down on this, 100% must. And that little spray just makes sure that this doesn't lift off as I'm doing my designs, which is also really important. So back to our Pavlova, and we are doing a wreath. And the idea with a wreath is what you can do if you want to, is you can actually draw a circle down here onto the, like if just a rough circle onto the baking paper. That's going to give you your guide of how you're going to lay these blobs. Can you see these blobs? These blobs of pavlova mixture onto the tray. Now when it comes to blobs and you are making a wreath, I'm just doing tablespoons at a time and letting them come off the spoon. Make sure that your blobs all stick together, because if they don't stick together you won't get a wreath, you'll get a semicircle. And remember, a Christmas wreath is complete and it is intact. So make sure that your blobs are all stuck together. And tablespoon is actually a really nice way to do the blobs, because it gives you time to design your circle, your wreath circle. And this mixture, by the way, gives you, so it's 6 egg whites, it gives you a huge pavlova wreath. Absolutely huge. Like, I have already completed my circle and you can see I've still got some left in there. So for you guys, if all you're making is a pavlova wreath, then you might want to make your circle a little bit bigger than what I've done, or you can even double up. Look, I'm doubling up now. I'm just going around to use up all that mix. But the reason why I didn't use it all the first time, because I want to show you guys another cool idea on how you can design your pavlova, because right, that looks pretty cool. Let's just take a second there to just appreciate how great that looks. That's a great pavlova. If you wanted to, you could make a whole pavlova cake just like normal. But you know what? A Christmas wreath actually looks pretty cool. It's a really nice design. So that's one thing that you can do. The other thing that you can do is come down to this end. This is why I used a big tray. So I want to show you guys what I've got here. Is we can make individuals. So that mixture I gave you guys actually makes 12 individual molds. And I've got a little mold here somewhere. Where are you, Mr. Mold? Ah, where are you, Mr. Mold? I had it somewhere and now I've lost. Oh, here it is. Ta-da! So you can actually make individual pavlovas as well, which looks so cute. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that too. So you know now how to make a wreath. Baking paper is vital. You will not achieve success without non-stick baking paper. Trust me, don't even try it, don't even attempt it. The next thing is, if you want to make individuals, you can as well. You need like a ring. This is just like a really fat ring that you can use to make little stacks of food in, but you can also use it to make an individual pavlova. So this goes down onto the tray, onto our baking paper. We then take a couple of spoons of our pavlova mixture, a couple of tablespoons. You could probably do about 2 to 2.5 tablespoons of the pavlova mixture. Pop it in there, and then grab yourself a really thin knife. I'm quite lucky I have this really wonderful palette knife. And then what you want to do is you just want to go right around the edge of your mold. And as you're going around the edge, bring your mold up, and then what you have there, can you guys see that? Is this wonderful little individual pavlova. I'll do it one more time. I think I've got enough mix in there to do one more. I'm going to help the mix out of the bowl by actually using my little child's most hated instrument, the spatula, because it cleans the bowl way too good. So we're going to do that. So using the spatula, even though, look, it just looks a dirty bowl, you're going to get an extra pavlova out of that. Trust me. Trust me. Slop it in there. Remember, you're only after about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the mixture gives you the perfect individual meringue. Like, seriously, it is perfect. You don't need any more than that. Slop it in there. Don't waste any. Do not waste any of this gorgeous stuff here. This is gold. And I try not to waste any, even though my spatula's not behaving itself. Right, so even doing that, remember we go back to our cute little you can get this little spatula from any chef store. Like, you know, King of Knives and stuff, they sell this because this is what cake makers and chefs use all the time, because it's lovely and fine. And then we have the ability to just go right, look, I'm just going right around. I'm hugging the side of the mold, and as I'm hugging it, I'm bringing it up and I'm creating these wonderful peaks. Look, peak. You can create peaks. You can create peaks here too. You can create peaks anywhere you want. And the more peaks, the better. When your pavlova has these wonderful peaks, as it cooks, you get almost like little mountains of pavlova goodness. So that's what you do. All right, so now that it's at that stage, all we need to do is pop it into the oven. And we remember we've had the oven set at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go over to the oven, I'm going to pop it in, and as soon as it gets in there, I'll put it into the oven, I'm going to turn the oven down to 110 straight away. So what happens when it goes into a hot oven is it begins to get really lovely color on top, but you don't want it to cook at 200 because it's going to burn. So we immediately reduce the temperature down to 110 degrees Celsius, which is, let me check my recipe here, 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and we will not burn it. We'll begin to bake it really, really gently. So over to the oven I go. Turning the oven down, and remember to put it on the middle rack. Not too high in the oven because heat rises, and not too low because the base will burn. So right in the middle you want to stick your tray, and you leave that in the oven for 45 minutes to 60 minutes, and then your pavlova is done. Pretty easy, right? Not too bad. Well, you know what happened earlier? Is I created some earlier because you can't wait for an hour to see the outcome. So if I could please ask my handsome assistant over there if he would hand me the that one. Yeah. I got two to show you. Right. And here's what we prepared earlier. From the magic of television, here is our Christmas wreath. And this is what your pavlova is going to look like when you take it out of the oven. How cool is that? So my biggest trick or tip when it comes to taking it out of the oven, and by the way, remember this is sugar free. Oh, need to lick my fingers, I got meringue everywhere. This is sugar free, and because it's sugar free you don't get a crispy crunchy exterior like you do from a traditional pavlova, but you still get the most pillowy soft meringues you could possibly imagine. So you're not going to get that really hard crunch on the outside, but you still get the most amazing pillowy meringue on the inside. You can see it there, right? You can see how pillowy that is. It is literally like marshmallow. This is like marshmallow. So when you take it out of the oven, what I want you guys to do is straight away remove the non-stick paper from the base of the wreath. I suggest you have a friend who helps you to do this because it will stick even more if you leave it too long. So as soon as it comes out of the oven and it looks like this, remove that paper from it. And one of the tricks is that you actually allow it to break in the middle. Because it's a wreath, you can always put it back together. So you allow it to break in the middle. So you take one half off and you put it onto its serving platter, and then you take the other half off and you put it into your serving platter. Please, if you've got a friend that can help you with this part, it's probably the most difficult part. But you can actually see here is where it broke for me, which we broke normally so that we can get it onto the platter. But because it's a wreath, it means that we don't have to worry because we're going to cover it with stuff, right? So we don't actually have to worry about, and no one's going to see these cracks. No one's going to see these cracks at all. No one's going to know that it broke. So just allow it to break. It is much easier and you will not stress out because we want a fuss-free Christmas, remember. We want a fuss-free Christmas. So just, calm, breathe. Get a friend to help you, or a handsome husband, or a handsome, beautiful, son, or a wonderfully delicious wife to give you a hand to take it off the paper and put it onto your serving platter. What you intend to serve it from. So I'm going to put that to the side for a second. We will come back to it. Please don't worry, because what I want to show you guys now actually involves more about the toppings. Yes, we have a question.
Question from Kathy. Can you make the base the day before, or is it better to make on the day?
You totally can make this the day before, 100%. Don't put it in the fridge, just leave it on the bench, cover it over, just so nothing gets into it, but you can 100% make this the day before. In fact, I always make my pavlovas on Christmas Eve, just because I don't have time to do a lot of that sort of stuff on Christmas Day. So yeah, this is this one that does sit really, really well, and I think it's because we don't actually have normal sugars in it. That's why it sits so well. So I'm back to this. I hope it doesn't misbehave on me too much, because what I want to show you guys now is actually the topping for this, and this I use a lot. So as I'm dairy free, because I am lactose intolerant except for certain cheeses, I can't have cream. And normally, as we know, Pavlova gets loaded with cream. We can't do that. Well, I personally can't do that. I'm not sure about you guys, or maybe just want to have less dairy and start incorporating other healthy fats. This is the whipped cream for you. So we're doing a coconut cream whipped cream. So I've had my coconut cream in the fridge. I'm going to go over here. Listen for the jingle bells. Listen for the jingle bells. Right, there we go. I've had my coconut cream sitting in the fridge now overnight. It is really important that you use a full fat coconut cream to make whipped cream. It needs to be full fat. You can't use any of the light stuff. And also, please make sure that you use a coconut cream that is a premium coconut cream. So you don't want to use a non-frills or budget coconut cream. This is probably my favorite coconut cream on the market at the moment here in Australia and New Zealand. It is called Kara, K-A-R-A. Happens to be named after a very dear friend of ours. Actually, no, but they're just the same name, Kara and coconut cream and Kara Lee. And so look for Kara if you can find it. I've never seen it in the supermarket in Australia, but I find it in almost every single Asian supermarket that I walk into. They have the Kara brand. Costco also sell the coconut milk. They don't sell the cream. So this goes into the fridge overnight. Really, 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 really important, because what's happening when you put your coconut cream into the fridge is the coconut fat solids, which is what we want for this, are beginning to coagulate and they're rising to the top. So we've almost got already, when I open it, and notice how I'm being very gentle with it. I'm not shaking it. I'm not making sure to redistribute the coconut cream and the coconut water. I'm being very gentle as I take off this lid. And what you will find in there is a thickened coconut cream, and it's that thick stuff that we want. And this will only happen if your coconut can has been in the fridge or been in a chilled environment for long enough. Yes, you can speed up the process by popping this in the freezer for 3 to 4 hours, but depending on how cold your freezer is, it may actually cool it too much and you'll get frozen coconut, which is not ideal. I find that overnight in the fridge, just be a bit prepared. In fact, I always have cans of coconut cream of Kara in my fridge at all times, just in case I need to whip something. This is a constant for me. Just like I have a really good quality butter in my fridge, I have lactose-free milk in my fridge, I always have cans of Kara coconut cream, because then you get this. Do you see the thickness? This is what you're after. You're not just trying to chill it, you're trying to actually coagulate or bring the coconut fat together so you get that thickness there, and that's what you're after. So what we're going to do now with my spoon is we're just very gently and very carefully beginning to extract the thickness into my bowl. You only want to take the thick stuff, and this is why I'm saying that you guys need to really get a premium quality coconut cream. If you don't have an Asian supermarket near you, because they tend to always sell it, they know it's a really good one. I've heard from other people on our page, on our group, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family, is that they use the Ayam brand. They find it works really well because it gets good thickness, but some of like the Coles or the Woolworths home brands, they don't work as well. You need to get a quality coconut cream, that's definitely, and you'll know it's quality because you'll just keep on extracting. Like I'm almost to the bottom of this can and I still haven't hit coconut water. That's when you know you've got a good one. I'm almost to the bottom. I'm still extracting the cream, that lovely thick cream. And it does, it looks like thickened whipped cream. That's what it looks like. I'm still extracting, and I reckon, and this is why I love Kara so much, and I love Kara Lee, but I also love Kara so much, the coconut cream, as well as the person. I love it so much because literally, you know what I've got left down the bottom there? I've got like that. That's it. That's the only water there. So that is such a good quality coconut cream, I can't even begin to tell you. Sometimes when I can't get hold of Kara because I've forgotten to get some, or I'm in a town that doesn't sell it and I just get one from the supermarket, I will only extract about that much coconut cream and the rest is liquid because it's not a great quality. Look at this. There's probably only a tablespoon of liquid down there. So I have used the entire can. Even though you're going to pay maybe another 50 cents more for it, you're going to extract more coconut cream from it, which is really important. So now that that's done, don't throw that away. That can go in a curry. Don't throw that away. That's good stuff. Now that we've done that, all I'm going to do now is give it a bit of a sweeten, and I have found through trial and error that about a tablespoon of inulin is ideal for sweetening a whole can of Cara coconut cream. So a tablespoon of inulin goes in. That is going to be a wonderful sweetener, and then we're going to go back to the whipping. Please work, Mr. Machine, that I overwork all the time. Oh, here we go. And once again, we're waiting for this transformation to take place. So if you haven't left it in there long enough, you won't get the thickness and you won't get the whip. So it's really important that you leave it in there overnight. So just like you're whipping whipped cream, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that transformation. I'll show you as we progress. So already what I'm noticing in the cream is that the whisk is starting to leave trails. So I know I'm getting thicker, which is a good sign. And you know, the more trails you get in the cream, the better. So just keep on going, persevere. If you are doing this by hand, you know, phone a friend. Someone might be able to help you. That's a lot of whisking is all I can say, a lot of whisking. Like, can you guys see how thick that's now getting? It's holding its own shape, so we are actually making whipped coconut cream. Amazing. It's like magic. So when it looks like really thick whipped cream to you, like normal cow's cream, your job here is done. And that's what I have there, a really nice, lovely, thick coconut cream using that wonderful, look at that. It's not even, yeah, it's just like, rah, that's perfect, right? At this point in time, you could just start to add that to your Pavlova. Or if you wanted to, you could also add some vanilla essence to it. You could add any flavors. In fact, here's a little secret, here's a little tip. Add raw cacao powder and you have made chocolate mousse. Just like that. That's chocolate mousse. I've done a recipe for this, by the way. So this is the base of so many things. You then add the flavors that you want. You could even pop in lemon curd in there and make a lemon and coconut pie. There's so many things you can do. Now you have thickened coconut cream. Of course, what we're going to do is we are going to start to decorate our Christmas wreath. So I love to put the Christmas wreath onto something lovely and flat, lovely and round as well. And you've noticed that I'm using a dark color because that's really going to highlight the colors that we've put onto here as well. So now that we've got that in, let's start to just kind of dollop our cream, just like you would in normal Pavlova. Dollop our coconut cream around the Pavlova. Up to you how you do this, up to you how much you put on, but you notice this is one can. One can is giving me all of this. It's amazing, it's just so good. And I think, like, from memory, buying a can of that in the in my local Asian supermarket, which I shop at Tong Lee, which is in Hurstville, which is in southern Sydney. And it's right above the train station if anyone is a local to Sydney. And I think it's about $2.20, $2.40 a can. So it's reasonably priced. I know it's not as cheap as the cheap stuff, but you get more yield. And it's the yield that's really important when it comes to this. So one can has been able to cover my wreath quite well. You could add more if you wanted to, and I've got some more in the fridge. Give me a second. Oh, my hazy, and believe me that that if you leave it out, someone's going to find it. But also it thickens as it sits in the fridge too. So here's one I made earlier, and you can see that it's even thicker just because I've let it sit in the fridge. So give yourself some lovely peaks and troughs when it comes to your Pavlova cream or your coconut whipped cream. And also bookmark this technique, because I I think it's on Tuesday. I'm going to teach you guys how to make my gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free pavlova. And you're going to need to, this is a recipe that's part of it, my coconut cream. So just bookmark this particular technique with the coconut cream, because it also appears in my trifle as well, which we're going to be doing on, I believe it's Tuesday. So now that you've got that kind of sorted out, and it looks pretty cool, and I'm pretty happy with it, then I'm going to think about the fruit that we put on it. And here comes the story. Are you ready for the story? All right, little story for you. When it comes to pavlova, who invented the pavlova? Us Kiwis and Aussies have been battling this story for so many years, in fact since the 1930s. So Pavlova is named after a ballerina, and she's a Russian ballerina. Her name was Anna Pavlova, and she was on tour with her, with the Russian ballet. They were on tour, touring throughout the Pacific, South Pacific, which they hadn't done before. So it was quite a momentous occasion back in the 1930s to have a Russian, like at the time they were the elite ballet troupe from around the world, the Russian ballet, and they were touring throughout Australia and New Zealand. And what happens in the 1930s, we've just come off, we're just sort of getting through World War I. It was definitely the roaring times, it was good times, and everyone was like enjoying life. It was the Art Deco period, and they had this Russian troupe come throughout Australia and New Zealand. Everyone was very, very excited. None so more than a chef based in Wellington, and he was working he was the head chef of a hotel where the Russian ballet was staying, including this goddess Anna Pavlova. And Anna Pavlova, she was the lead ballerina. So she, I think they were performing Swan Lake. I could be wrong, but she was the lead ballerina, and she was being touted throughout the world as the most beautiful woman in the world. And so this Wellington chef, and she was staying in his hotel, and he was just so enamored by Anna Pavlova, he decided to create a dessert for her. And this is where it gets a little bit itchy scratchy, and people go, no, it was a chef in Perth, and like, no, it was a chef in Wellington. So here's the story. This chef might be in Perth, might be in Wellington, but it was a Russian ballet, and it was Anna Pavlova, and she was there performing, and she was staying in the hotel. Decided to create dessert in her honor. And so he had watched her practice or perform, and what he noticed about her performing was her tutu, her beautiful ballerina tutu, and it was all pillowy, and it was all kind of, it was all very exotic, and her tutu had the most beautiful green and red flowers around it. So he created this pavlova, and to mimic or to represent the flow of her tutu. And then he put these fruit on top of the pavlova to represent the flowers that she had on her tutu, which were green and red, and those fruits were kiwi fruit and strawberry. So I'm not sure if Perth had kiwi fruit. I think Wellington did. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Please research it. But as far as the traditional pavlova was concerned, it was created by a chef in Wellington who was in love with Anna Pavlova, and he created this dessert, and he put on top of it strawberries and kiwi fruit from the red and green to coincide with the beautiful flowers that she had on her tutu. And I don't know, someone tell me whether you can get kiwi fruit in Perth. Just asking the question. Putting it out there, asking the question. So guess what I have to put on my pavlova, by the way? Of course, I have kiwi fruit. And of course I have strawberries. I have other stuff as well, but I have kiwis and strawberries because you need to have a bit of the green and you need to have a little bit of the red. That is what it's all about. Oh, I'll just put that on the edge there. So come on back down. Let's decorate our wreath. And it's very easy to decorate. Yes, I have a question.
From Kathy, so if you use 2 cans, do you double the inulin?
Yes, you do. So 1 tablespoon of inulin per can is about right for sweetness. Now what you're noticing is I am just popping the strawberries in. I'm not really paying too much attention to their location because they are just, once we've got everything on there, it's going to look fabulous. So I've got strawberries. I've also got really gorgeous, look at these absolutely gorgeous blackberries as well. Blackberries remind me of when I was a kid back in New Zealand, and we would go blackberry hunting. Didn't have to hunt them, they were pretty easy to find, but we would go blackberry foraging. and they usually grew in the brambles on the side of the road, so they were covered in road dust. You know, because we're in the middle of the country. There was no tar seal, it was all loose metal, so the blackberries were always covered in road dust. And I just remember those days of going through the brambles and getting spiked with blackberry thorns, but taking home as much as we ate, and we usually ate quite a lot, taking them back to my auntie, and she would make blackberries and cream for us. It was such a beautiful memory. And just thinking of her now up there in Pangaru, which is the top of the North Island, and thinking about what wonderful cook my auntie Lentil was, and what she could do with blackberries. I tell you, what she could do with flounder was pretty amazing as well. So we've got this wonderful look already. You could stop there and go, da-da, I'm done, but you know what, let's keep going. I've got a few cherries because it's cherry season, and cherries now remind me of Australia like 100%, because there is so many amazing cherry growing regions in Australia. And right now, cherries are at their prime, so get yourself some cherries. They are wonderful, fresh cherries. Not very often we get to have these fresh cherries, only around December and January. You could also do something like, I've got a little bit of dragon fruit here, which is just mainly for colour. Look at that. Dragon fruit, let's be honest, doesn't have a lot of flavour. But what it does for the look of your dish is pretty sensational. So if you can find some dragon fruit, and I actually got this dragon fruit at Aldi, would you believe? Aldi was selling it for about $3. So I picked me up a dragon fruit, knowing how much I love that bright red skin, and then that lovely, like, it reminds me of 101 Dalmatians. This is the fruit. This is 101 Dalmatian fruit. It is the cutest thing ever. So we're going to put some of that on as well. We are also, don't forget, the kiwi portion. Let's add some kiwi fruit. So I'm just gonna, oh, we had a dragon fruit lose its stuff and fall out. Put it back on. So when it comes to the kiwi fruit, I'm just gonna take off. Can you guys see that? You guys can see that, eh? Take off the top and the bottom. Throw that away, and then start to peel down using my lovely sharp knife. Just gonna peel all the skin off and expose that gorgeous green. So Anna Pavlova's roses or flowers from her tutu are very, very well accounted for on our Pavlova. Oh. All right, throw the skins away. You can eat the skins, by the way. If you just get like a little clean scrubby from the kitchen, like a green scrubby, you can actually scrub off all the fluff, and you can totally eat the skin. Not so much on a Pavlova. I think it's better if we just go with the wonderful green. And I'm just going to make up some small slices of the kiwi. Cut them in half so that we can just go and start to create just that little bit of green happening on here. You could add fresh mint to it if you really wanted a vibrant green, but everything you have here is 100% edible, 100% edible, and it looks fabulous. And you get to be the designer of your Christmas wreath. And I think, personally, for me, that's the most exciting part. And you notice, even just with that little bit of kiwi fruit, how this entire thing is now popped. So the last thing we want to do is take up our little sieve like that, just a little tiny sieve, and we are just going to dust it with inulin powder so we've got a bit of snow. Yes, we've got a question, Mahi.
We have people tuning in from the northern hemisphere, so
Yeah.
we're just wondering what fruits they could put on during winter season.
Winter season. If you are experiencing the winter where you are, there's nothing stopping you from doing pear, which is a lovely winter fruit. But it also depends on what's available in your area. Just go into your fruit market and whatever's fresh, you know, a fruit that would work really well, because we've got some soft fruits, we've got some firmer fruits as well, so we've got a connection of textures. And whatever you're finding wherever you are in the world, I would definitely go into my fruit shop, have a little look around, and if you can eat it just by taking a bite, it would work perfectly on your Pavlova. Make sure you got some colors, make sure you got some green, try and get some red in there as well, because then how Christmassy do we now all feel? Isn't that good? That's Christmas. It's wonderful. Isn't it gorgeous? That is such a nice little Christmas wreath. But wait, there's more. I've got one more thing I want to show you guys. Is what do the individuals look like? Because now you know what the wreath looks like, and he looks pretty awesome. Could I please have the individuals, Mahi? Thank you. The little thing of individuals. So this is what happens when you do the individuals. Remember we had a couple of individuals in the oven. Check this out, guys. I don't know if I love these more than I love the Christmas wreath. So you can also make your individuals, and it's exactly the same thing when it comes to individuals. And this is if you're having a dinner party, or you want to have like a big platter and people just help themselves to one pavlova instead of kind of breaking into it. It's the same thing. We start with our coconut cream, goes on top, and make sure when it comes to your pavlovas that you are garnishing, you know, only sort of a half an hour to an hour maximum before you serve, because you don't want them to get all too soggy from the fruit and stuff. So the pavlovas can definitely be made in advance, 24 hours to 36 hours before you intend to serve. But when it comes to topping or creating the decoration on top, just make sure you give yourself not so much time. You just want to be a little bit before you eat. Usually half an hour to an hour before you eat is ideal. And it's easy to decorate the individuals, because even just with the strawberry, you're like, yeah, that looks great. That looks great. All right, I'm gonna add though. I will just put them there for a second. You can still see that's good-o, because I need to go back to my little friend the kiwi. Hi, kiwi. And we're gonna just make a couple of lovely thin slices, and then we can make our kiwi as well. And he is just gorgeous. A little bit of green always helps. And look, Anna Pavlova had them in her skirt, so why not have it in your pavlova and dedicate it to the Queen of Ballet? Why not add a little bit of dark? Oh gosh, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. These, look how stunning these look. They just look fabulous. You can do this. You've seen me do it. You can do this. And you know what? You will just blow your guests away when you say, and guess what? There's no sugar in my pavlova, so it's good for you. And I've added fiber syrup, so it's a prebiotic, and it's going to be really good for your gut health. Remember, a little bit of that inulin. Sorry, not fiber syrup, you added inulin. Not fiber syrup, you added inulin. A little bit of that goes on top. We get snow, and you get pavlova. Da, 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 da. Isn't it fabulous? Gosh, look at it just like drooping down there. Like, it's really hard for me to decide whether I like that one or whether I like that one. You let me know, which one do you guys like? Do you like the individuals or do you like the wreath? It's a tough one, right? Because I just think that these are as cute as a button. I just think that that is the most delicious looking little individual, and you're like, ooh, is that for me? And you take your little individual. But this is a statement. If you had this on the table, this is a statement. And remember, this is a small one. You can make it, because I use 6 eggs to make this and these. If you added these to here, you could make a huge one that would be like this entire round here. So that's up to you guys, and it's up to what you think you want. But either way, let's be honest, either way, you're winning the pavlova and the Christmas. You are winning, because you get to have this or you get to have that wreath, and you are absolutely winning. So that is our second installment of our 12 cooking days till Christmas. Tomorrow, what are we doing? Tomorrow is an exciting day. Tomorrow I'm going to teach you guys how to make the easiest, most delicious turkey, whole big turkey. We're doing turkey tomorrow. If you've never cooked turkey, and for a lot of the folks, us here in Australia and New Zealand, it's not something we would normally eat. Remember, turkey is very, 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 very lean. It is good for our bodies. It is a poultry, so it's really easy for us to digest, and it may be the alternative this year to ham. Just in case you're thinking, I don't know if I want to do the ham thing. You can still do the ham thing, but trust me, you are going to want to watch tomorrow as we go through my dry brined, simple, easy, really quick. This turkey will take about an hour and a half to cook. not 6 hours, it's an hour and a half. I'm going to teach you guys the tricks tomorrow. Join me live tomorrow as we do day 3 of my 12 cooking days till Christmas. All the recipes you need, they are in the ebook, bridgetshealthychristmas.com. You can go there, you can download the ebook, and you can play along at home, take notes as well, so that you have a fuss-free Christmas. So thank you for joining me. I've got some Pavlova to share with my husband. He's been waiting so patiently. He's very good. Very, very good. He's been very patient today, waiting, because Pavlova is one of his faves. So I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow. Take care and have a wonderful, wonderful start to your weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow, which is Sunday here in Sydney. Take care. Bye.